Sorry for the tardiness. We just had an executive session. It went a little longer than we thought it was going to go. So I'm going to call the work session for Monday, April 6th to order. Welcome everyone to the Borough Council work session. No council action, which means making motions or approvals taken during this work session. Items for discussion tonight are DCED Center Region Local Government Specialist Jake D. Carley. Jake, are you out there? Hey, would you come to the microphone, please? Welcome. Sorry for our tardiness.
Now you can hear me? All right, cool.
Much better, much better.
Let me stand back. Is that better? Okay. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Jake DeCarley, and I am from the Governor's Center for Local Government Services with the Department of Community and Economic Development. It's a bit of a mouthful, but I'm from DCED. I am your local government specialist for the Central Region for Pennsylvania, and as your local government specialist, I am a liaison between DCED and you all as elected officials in your community. Just a show of hands, how many of you are familiar with the Governor's Center for Local Government Services? Okay, a few people, great. So at the Governor's Center for Local Government Services, we are a one-stop shop for municipal government officials relating to a wide variety of topics that affect your daily job, including things like taxation, municipal code, grants, etc. And so as the specialists, we are here to work with you all through different challenges that you might face in your jobs, for example. At the Governor's Center for Local Government Services, we provide a number of services relating to technical assistance for you all. And this could be including questions regarding municipal code, how to stabilize the tax base, how to access different grants. But I want to point your attention to our peer-to-peer program, which is something phenomenal that we deploy to municipalities across the Commonwealth. This peer-to-peer program deploys former municipal officials, fire chiefs, police chiefs, etc., to deploy some technical assistance to you all as folks who worked in the field previously. At the Governor's Center, we actually provide free fire and police studies. So if you are thinking about shared services with another municipality, that would be a good time to come in and access our peer-to-peer program. And you'll have, for example, a former police chief working with your police force and assessing the organization of it, et cetera. So there's some good resources to utilize there. And then we also have what I like to point out is the CTAP, Community and Technical Assistance Planning Program. This is a program where we deploy our planning team at DCED to work in the communities and talk about your comprehensive plans, your zoning, et cetera, and come up with some ways to further develop those different things within your community planning side of your municipality. And we provide up to 400 free hours of this type of technical assistance with the planning team. So this is another great resource for you all to think about as you continue working with us in the future. I just also want to talk about some other brief programs that we have to offer at the Governor's Center. And just to give you perspective, so I cover a big range in Pennsylvania. So as the Central Region here, I cover Fulton, Bedford, Somerset County, all the way up to McKean, Potter, and Tioga County. So that's a pretty wide range of Pennsylvania I got there. And one thing that I've noticed from my 2 months of being in this position is that all municipalities are facing just a plethora of issues and unique challenges to them. And so my hope is to be your advocate through my time here at DCD, whatever you need. But some programs I want to point to all out is the Strategic Management and Planning Program, the STAMP program. This is an opportunity for you to have a analysis done of your finances for 5 years prior, as well as your operations as a local government. And so we match 50% up to $200,000 for a grant to bring in a consulting team to do that type of work. And based on the recommendations that this team creates, you are eligible to apply for additional phases of funding to implement some of those recommendations. So this includes programs relating to updating your software and hardware, looking at your zoning, for example, and updating that. And so there are many different ways that you can engage in this program to make some improvements in your community. And we always stress that communities don't have to be financially distressed to look at this grant too. This could be an opportunity for you just to assess where you are and maybe make improvements in your operations. So that's something I also want to talk to you all about today as well. But in the meantime, if you ever want to get in contact with me regarding different questions you might have, or if you need my assistance with anything, I'll give you all my phone number so you have that. It's 717-466-4823. And feel free to call me anytime, and I'm happy to talk with you all. I apologize, I didn't realize I'd be presenting at a formal meeting. I thought I'd be more sitting down with you all. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I don't know if that's how this goes, but I'm happy to take your questions.
Well, Jake, we were lucky that we did participate in the SM as
The
Yeah.
stamp, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
and so we have that package.
Great.
And have trying to proceed with recommendations from that.
Great.
So
Excellent.
that was an interesting process that we went through. Are there other questions that council might have? Comments? Yes,
Doug,
Barb?
when did we do that stamp program?
About
Recall?
3 or 4 years ago. Was it that long? And when we have a copy, we have that in, you can get a copy of that.
Okay.
I think I have it on my desktop, but
That
I'm
may-
sure there's some floating around
Right.
in the Borough building.
I guess one of my questions, Jake, would be, is that something that should be updated? I mean, things do change pretty quickly sometimes too, or is that not necessary?
Well, so with the stamp program, if you apply for additional phases of funding, you have to apply to do one of the recommendations in your phase 1 report that was drafted by whichever consulting firm that you worked with for that. So that would be something that you have to follow. And I'm not sure if you all are still actively in stamp or not right now, but that would be something to look into. And if you want to come back for additional funding, you can. But we have municipalities that have come back to reapply for stamp in that case too, so.
Okay, thank you very
You're
much.
welcome.
I do believe that our progress on the stamp, the previous stamp effort is documented in each one of our budget reports and has been ever since we received the stamp report. So that progress report is in each one of those. And as I believe in the last one, it was also updated.
Great.
Other questions?
I just want to say too, so I know that I am very young and I'm very new to this position, and my background's in international relations. So this is very different, change for me, but I'm very excited to be working with you all and with all the municipalities that I serve. I interned with DCED last summer as part of my graduate program with Syracuse University. So it was a nice experience working at local government and learning all about that too. But I'm from Franklin County, Pennsylvania originally, in a very small town. So I'm very passionate about rural affairs in Pennsylvania and advocating for resources for similar communities because I realize how important it is for communities like yours and like mine to have opportunities and to improve their communities. So thank you all for serving and for being in this position. And again, I look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it
Thank
very
you,
much.
Jake,
Thanks.
very much.
Okay, we have a couple minutes before 7:30, so we're going to adjourn the work session, and we'll re-adjourn with the business meeting at 7:30. to go. Good evening. I'd like to call the Bellefonte Borough Business Meeting to order. It's Monday, April 6th. First, we'd like to do the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Ms. Clayton, would you do the roll call, please? And I'd like to remind all of council to not be microphone shy. Pull the microphone close to your mouth so our audience can hear you and folks on CNET can hear you. I've already received a text message that the audio and the video isn't the quality that they're looking for. I've discussed it with the CNET folks. As far as they know, it's being monitored fine on their end. So we don't know of any technical difficulties in the production of this on our end. It could be the internet service where you are located. But I'm just reminding again, council members to please not be microphone shy. So I'd like a roll call, please. Deb.
Mr. Brackville.
Here.
Ms. Clayton, here. Ms. Dan.
Here.
Mr. Eaton. Here. Mr. Johnson.
Present.
Ms. McKean.
Here.
Mr. Kelly.
Here.
Ms. Tosti-Vasey.
I'm here.
Ms. Wilson.
Wilt present.
Ms. Meckley is excused, and Mayor Johnson.
Here.
Thank you.
Mr. Probolka is joining us via Zoom. So just wanted to make that announcement. We had an executive session before this business meeting tonight. Additions to the council meeting agenda. In accordance with Act 65 of 2021, if a matter is not on the agenda, council cannot take official action on it with some exceptions. The council can act on matters relating to potential or real emergencies. Council may add matter of agency business to its agenda through a majority vote. The council should state the reason why the action item is being added to the agenda. Council may vote to add an action item to the agenda. Is there any action items that a council member would like to add to the agenda tonight? Hearing none, we'll move on to public comment. Borough Council intends to take public comment related to the motion that is on the floor after it has been duly made and seconded. The order of comments will be public comment, then council comment, including proposed amendments by council members. If the amendments are proposed to the original motion, the public may then only comment on the amendment or the amendments before final votes are taken. You must be a Bellefonte resident, a nonprofit representative, a business owner, or an official representative of another governmental agency. Speakers shall identify themselves by name and street, municipality, if outside of the Borough of Bellefonte. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Next are communications, and there we have 3. Center County Spring Job Fair is this Thursday, April 23rd, held at C3 Sports at 200 Ellis Place State College. This is an information item and there is no council requested. There's a reminder that the first brush and grass collection of the season will begin on Wednesday. That would be this Wednesday, April 8th. Residents who have not yet paid for their brush and grass service are still able to submit the payment to be included in the collection program. Just to remind folks who do have a brush and waste can, if you don't pay that, it won't be collected, and then there's probably a time period where the borough will ask you to return the brush and waste, brush and grass cans, because we do have a waiting list for folks that want to take part in that. One other communication is Clear Water Conservatory Watershed Cleanup Day is Saturday, April 18th. This is an information item only. So those are the communications that we have written. The next is the consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon by a single motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless members of the council request specific items to be removed for a separate action. I'm looking for a motion and a second for the consent agenda.
I'll make that. I'll second it.
Thank you,
Dan.
Randy. Thank you, Barb. Any comments? Well, go ahead. You don't want to remove anything? We're not discussing any of this.
I do want to remove, just to ask a question on the minutes.
You want to remove a question
minutes.
on the minutes?
Yes,
So we should separate that?
right.
Okay. Any other objections or corrections? Okay, we're going to vote on the Barton Logardus and Engineering Services. All those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Motion carried. And now we go to the draft of council minutes for March 16th. Joanne?
I don't know if this can be done administratively or not. In the section on page 3, there was, Doug at the last meeting said that he wanted the bathroom issue to be sent to the Parks and Facility Committee. It's actually 2 separate committees, and Doug and I talked earlier this morning, but I don't know what the resolution was, so I don't know if we just, the suggestion that I had to correct the minutes to sort of make clear that issue is going to go to the 2 committees, or what needs to be added.
I talked to Randy tonight. Randy's going to participate in that, and then he will pass that along to the Facilities and Streets Committee folks, so that there won't be a quorum at that meeting.
So in other words, it will be held at the Parks and Rec Committee meeting on April 29th, and then with Randy in attendance at that meeting, and then they'll go to the
Yeah,
Facilities Committee following that.
right. Randy is the chair of that committee, so it's appropriate that he be there.
So do we need to change the minutes or just leave them as is at this point?
I think we can leave them as they are. I'm
Okay.
fine with that.
Okay.
So I need a motion and a second to approve the draft council meeting minutes for March 16th.
I motion Wilson.
Thank you.
I'll second it. Dan?
Thanks, Barb. Any other comments? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same side. Motion carried. Reports. Mr. Mayor, you're number 1 on the list.
A Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month proclamation. Whereas the month of April 2026 recognized as Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month, and the initiative sponsored by Pennsylvania 811, a utility notification information center with 54 years of continuous service to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And whereas Pennsylvania 811 received 1 million excavation notifications in 2025, over 30,000 construction projects in coordinate Pennsylvania, and transmitted approximately 6 million notifications to their member facility owners and operators, allowing essential utility and construction crews to provide vital underground services and repair of critical infrastructure to communities throughout Pennsylvania. And whereas, when contacting 811 at least 3 business days before digging, a homeowner or a contractor is connected to a unique service that notifies the appropriate underground utility operators in the municipality in which the work will be performed. And whereas, by notifying 811 of their intent to dig, the homeowner or contractor is knowingly helping protect the underground utilities, themselves, the work crew, and their neighbors from unsafe digging practices within their community. And whereas, upon receiving the notification from Pennsylvania 811, the facility owners and operators disperse to the said work site to mark the approximate location of their underground utility lines with flags, paint, or both, to establish an 18-inch tolerance zone of the outside wall or edge of their line or facility. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Buddy Johnson, Mayor of Borough of Bellefonte, Pennsylvania, in support of the Pennsylvania Underground Utility Line Protection Law, PA Act 287 of 1974, as amended, we do hereby proclaim April 2026 as Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll move on to our junior council member isn't here tonight. He's been excused. OCA memo. Gina, do you have some comments for us tonight? You all have Gina's report in your packet. Gina, I'll give the floor to you.
Oh, it doesn't light up, I'm sorry. Just a reminder to council that there will be a planning commission next Monday, April 13th at 5 p.m. HARB will meet next Tuesday, April 14th at 8:30 a.m. And there is a zoning hearing board meeting on the evening of Tuesday, April 14th at 5 p.m. to hear a variance request for relief from a sign ordinance. So that information in the legal notice for the zoning hearing board is in your packet. And I do not have any other items. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Gina? Okay, we'll move on. So the next, I'm going to close this meeting.
Recess.
Recess, I will read verbatim. I need a motion to recess the regular meeting for the purpose of holding the public meeting for the proposed amendment to Article 1 in Chapter 88, Officers and Employees of our Borough Ordinance, with the regular meeting coming back in order immediately following the public hearing.
I'll make that motion, Tosti Vasey.
I'll second it, Dan.
Thank you. So we're going to go into our public hearing. So this public hearing is to receive public comment on proposed ordinance number 0406226-01, titled Chapter 88, number 88, Officers of Employees. David, do you have any comments on this ordinance?
No, sir.
Okay. So as I see it, this is the legal notice for the Center County, and this is the ordinance manager section. Okay, so this committee, I'm wondering if one of the committee members would comment on this. John, you are the chair of that.
Yes.
I'm not putting you on the spot. I can read it as well, but you might want to give a little history to it.
We modified the borough ordinance relative, covering the borough manager.
Keep the microphone close to your mouth.
Okay. The primary changes to the ordinance was that we eliminated the residency rule, that now the borough manager soon after, while not needing to be a resident or local when they're hired, as soon as possible they will have to reside within a 15-mile radius of the borough office. That'll basically take us to the east, to the Clinton County line, to the south, to the top of Seven Mountains, and then most all of, a good deal of Ferguson Township. The bond requirement has been eliminated. was, also the committee voted to make the statement gender neutral. Am I missing anything from any of the other members of the ad hoc? Okay. So those were the primary changes, eliminating the bond requirement and the residency requirement.
John? I think we also clarified a little bit with the budget. The budget will be budget development for the next fiscal year at the close of the third quarter of the current fiscal year. We added that, and also the borough manager shall prepare and submit to council the final budget package, including an explanatory budget message at the second meeting in the 11th month of the current fiscal year. So I think it just qualified that a little bit more.
Yes, we did add those dates for those. It was interesting. There was a requirement for let's call it a post-mortem of the budget that we never enforced previously. But I do believe that is it. Any other of the committee members chime in, please?
There was just, the mayor is hereby authorized to delegate to the manager, subject to recall by written notification at any time of the mayor's non-legislative or non-judicial powers and duties. That was one of them. So those were the major changes, just some other small wording changes. Any other comments?
We're supposed to be getting comments from the public, then we can make ours afterwards.
Okay. Is there any comments from the public? Yes, ma'am. Could you come up to the microphone, please?
All right. Hi.
Good.
I'm Tracy Spicer. I just had a question. Where were the locations for the position?
Excuse me, ma'am. It's for the borough manager. Okay.
So then they don't need to reside here within the borough?
No, not according to the revision.
But that just makes no sense to me. I'm sorry. I would think they would have to reside here in the borough if they're going to be in our council.
Do I comment back?
Typically, we don't discuss this interaction back and forth. This is based on the ad hoc committee's recommendation for the borough manager position. Times have changed where it's been very difficult to recruit folks for this position, so we thought, or the committee thought, that there could be some flexibility in that, and the committee came up with a 15-mile radius of the borough. Does that make everybody happy on the council? Probably not, but because of the limited pool of applicants, it was a recommendation by the committee. As I understand it, all agreed that was a reasonable compromise for not having the manager live within the borough. I'm going to ask if other committee members have comments on that. Yes, Deb.
Yeah, I'd just like to clarify that as council members, we are all elected officials. The borough manager is an appointed position, so we are required to live within the municipality because we represent the municipality. The borough manager does not.
Okay.
And actually, the majority of the borough employees do not live within the borough. They live in surrounding townships, so it's not unusual.
Okay. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome. Thanks for coming up and asking the question. Other comments from council or the audience?
If there's no more comments from the public, then you close that and we go back into then we can have our discussion.
Okay. So I need to close the meeting?
Close the public hearing.
Yeah. So any more comments? Okay. So let me get to my cheat sheet here. Once everyone who wants to speak, the gavel, so you gavel the regular meeting back into order and proceed as normal. So we'll go back to the business meeting. Now, do I need a motion
Yes.
Yes.
to approve this ordinance?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you,
Dan.
Barb.
I'll second it, Wilson.
Thank you, Claudia. Any other comments from council? Yes, Joanne?
I wanted to first of all thank the ad hoc committee for putting this together. And among the items listed, there was that you said you put in gender neutral language. I found 26 instances of gender neutral language in this document and one instance of gender specific language. And so it does need to be consistent. So I don't know if this needs to be done administratively because we had a public hearing, or if I need to make a motion to change that one, to correct that one to,
Joanne, I can't hear you very well. Sorry.
okay, what I said was that there's a total of 27 places in this document that should have gender neutral language. 26 out of the 27 do. The one that's missing is in the last sentence of section 88-2. Right now it says him, and it should be them if it's going to be consistent with everything else.
I can't get there yet. 88-2, appointment and removal.
Yes, the last sentence in that paragraph.
Council shall furnish the manager with a written statement setting forth its intentions to remove him from
Yes.
the reasons
Yes,
thereof.
and that should say them in order to be consistent with everything else.
Yeah. I
That's
think
what I
that's
was asking.
administrative.
That's what I was
It
thinking.
doesn't change the meaning of that at
Right,
all.
it
so
doesn't,
it's
and that was what I
administrative.
was asking, was just to let the public know that we just need to do something administratively. That's all I was asking.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other comments? Those in favor of the ordinance, say aye.
Can we have a
Oh,
roll call vote on that, please?
yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Roll call, please, Deb.
Mr. Brackbill,
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton, yes. Ms. Dam,
Yes.
Mr. Eaton,
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey,
Yes,
Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. It's unanimous.
Unanimous, thank you. Again, yeah, and I didn't say it, but yes, the ad hoc committee, you did a great job of that. I really appreciate it. Okay. The next ordinance amendment to Chapter 180 Air Pollution. Motion and second to authorize the advertisement of the amendment to Chapter 180 Air Pollution.
I'll make that motion. Dan?
Thanks, Barb.
I'll second that, Tosti Vasey.
Thank you. Is there discussion from council?
Yeah, can you let us know what we took out?
Randy, would you please talk into the microphone?
Can you let us know what was taken out?
Basically, we took out 95% of the current 40, 50-year-old ordinance that related to very specific air pollution controls that are now handled by the federal and state government. And we only looked at the nuisance sort of air pollution things, smells, odors, some fly ash and those sort of things. It was to try, and that's something that we as a borough could actually control without going into, Dave, what was the name of that? Wrinkled something? Ringelman scales. Which none of us knew what it was or how to do it, and that's something that the state does. So like I said, 95% of this ordinance is, and we just kept the bare bones that in it is what's in here now.
Does that answer your questions, Randy? Okay. Other questions?
I'd just like to thank that committee for working on cleaning up our ordinance and making it more easier to understand. So.
Okay, if there isn't any other questions, I'd like to take a vote. Those in favor
Could we have a roll call vote again,
sure.
please? Thank you.
for this, I'll recite it again. Ordinance amendment to Chapter 180 Air Pollution, to authorize the advertisement of the amendment to Chapter 180 Air Pollution. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brackbill,
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton, yes. Ms. Dan,
Yes.
Mr. Eaton,
Yes.
Mr. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Kelly,
Yes.
Ms. McKean,
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey,
Yes.
and Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you, it's unanimous.
Thank you. Motion carried unanimously. Next item. The Streets Infrastructure and Public Works Committee recommends council award the 2026 paving bid to HRN Incorporated in the amount of $81,989 and remove East Lamb Street, Locust Lane, and East Lamb Street / Wilson Street intersection from the paving schedule due to stormwater projects that must be completed before the paving. I'm looking for a motion and a second to award the 2026 paving bid to HRI Incorporated in the amount of $81,989 and remove East Lamb Street, Locust Lane, and East Lamb Street / Wilson Street intersection from the paving schedule.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, John.
I'll second Brackbill.
Thank you, Randy. Any discussion from council? Yes, Claudia?
I just wonder when those streets will be put back into the circulation for paving, or what's the time frame for doing the work on the drainage? Do we know?
We usually try to keep our paving schedule for the year under $100,000.
No, I didn't mean about the amount. So Wilson Street and those areas,
Yeah.
those streets are taken off of the paving.
Correct.
When do we know when they will be put back on that schedule?
I do not,
Okay.
and that's based on budget.
Okay.
So it most likely would be next year. Yes, Joanne? David Prabolka. Go ahead, David. Along with that, David, I know Locust Lane might have some disruption with some of the stormwater management that probably wouldn't be complete in time for this paving schedule. Not absolutely sure of that, but that's another reason. And we did sort of do a skim coat of Amosite at the intersection of Wilson and Lamb to temporarily fix that, and I know they constructed a small curbing to try to prevent the water from running down into the cemetery. And that seems to be working well, at least temporarily. So. Okay.
Doug?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I walked downtown last week and noticed some potholes across East Howard Street at the intersection of Howard and Allegheny Streets, right next to the post office. Is this in the list of the roads to be repaired in this paving bid? I didn't see a list of what is being paved, only what was removed from the paving list.
I believe that, tell me if I'm wrong on this, David, I think you know it as well, maybe other council members know it. I believe there's a paving schedule from East Bishop Street to, I think it's 144 through Allegheny Street. Have you heard that, David? Am I in? That's correct. Yeah, So that is a PennDOT road, and I think, I'm not sure when it may occur, but I think it's on the paving list before winter.
Okay, because the potholes are actually on Howard Street, and they're pretty deep, so if it's not going to be covered, I'd like to see our streets people put something in it to at least temporarily fix it, because they're about this deep right now.
That's fine. So if you wouldn't mind, Joanne, compose a list and send it to Randy, and Randy will look into it as our streets chair and see what we can do to manage that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have a motion on the floor for this approval. Do we approve that, or? Yeah. Yeah. So the motion on the floor is to approve the awarding the bid to HRI. Do I need to repeat it? Okay. Those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Same side, motion carried unanimously. New business. Consideration of a lease agreement with C&L Lingle Real Estate LLC for a small tract of borough-owned land located adjacent to My Buzz Cafe on West High Street. The agreement would authorize C&L Lingle Real Estate LLC to lease and utilize the parcel under the terms outlined in the proposed lease. So I'm looking for a motion and a second to authorize the borough to enter into a lease agreement with C&L Lingle Real Estate LLC for the small tract of land located adjacent to My Buzz on West High Street, subject to the terms of the proposed agreement. That agreement is in your packet tonight. I think it's a 2-year lease, or is it a 5-year lease? I can't remember. 5-year, 4-year? Okay. Do we have any questions?
I'll make that motion too.
Thank you, John.
I'll second Brad.
Thank you, Randy. Discussion by council on this. Joanne?
I think the lease is pretty well written. I think there's one clause that might be missing. Right now, it reads that they can be automatically renewed without any further discussion. What I'm concerned that there is no clause specifying a term or saying that we can review it at least once every 4 years to determine whether C&L Lingle Real Estate or the borough wants to make a revision to the lease. So I'd like to make a motion to add a clause like that to this lease. I went through it 3 times last night and I couldn't find anything like that in there. And the reason I'm concerned is that we've had several other leases
Yeah.
and they didn't have a review within the clause.
Sure.
We've had some problems, so I would like to have that added to this
Okay, I'm
lease.
going to ask David a question. David, is this similar to the lease that was already in place before, or for this property? Did we have one before this? Or is this?
This is similar to one that was drafted a few years ago to basically accomplish this same goal.
Right.
I don't think it ever was.
It was never signed.
Okay,
It was never ratified.
okay.
I think there was perhaps a license agreement that allowed them to encroach a bit into the borough property with their covered.
Yeah, yeah, okay. Gotcha.
So I made a motion.
Well, let's
We need-
conditionally approve this the way it is now, or I'm making
We-
that suggestion.
Then we need to modify the original amendment to say conditional approval.
We can do that with that. David, do you have any comments on that added verbiage? Could you hear the added verbiage that Joanne suggested?
Yeah, I think we can add in, a 4-year review cycle so that every 4 years council, kind of reauthorizes the lease
Yes.
agreement. The 90-day, kind of renewal or notice of non-renewal was kind of the intent to provide that opportunity for the borough to extricate or terminate the lease agreement either on renewal or if the situation called for it mid-year with appropriate notice to the tenant, because there's an understanding that they may make some modest improvements to the land, as far as temporary installations for yard
Okay. So, do you want to make the motion to amend that, Joanne?
I make a motion to add an additional clause requiring a review of the lease every 4 years. And to make this conditional upon the acceptance by the legal company. Does that make?
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second McKean.
Seconded by Shauna. Any discussion on the motion, amended motion? All those in favor of the amended motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Now do we go back to that original motion?
Yeah, as amended, yes.
Hmm?
We vote now on it as amended, and the whole thing, all is one piece.
It's all gone.
It doesn't, she's adding.
Because we didn't say it was a friendly amendment, we have to have a second vote to say that the lease with the addition has to be voted on as a whole now.
Okay. Do we need discussion, or do we?
You don't want it.
Okay. Any other discussion on the lease agreement? Those in favor of the lease agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Another lease agreement. Consideration of a lease agreement with Revival Room LLC for Suite 130 located in the Bellefonte Borough Administration Building. The agreement would authorize Revival Room LLC to lease and utilize Office Suite 130 under the terms outlined in the proposed lease. Motion and second to authorize the borough to enter into a lease agreement with Revival Room LLC for Suite 130 in the Bellefonte Borough Administration Building, subject to the terms of the proposed agreement.
I'll make that motion, Dan.
Thank you, Barb.
Second, Brockville.
Thanks, Randy. Any discussion on this lease?
Yeah,
Where is Suite 130 in the Borough Administration?
Alyssa is stepping up to the microphone.
It is the room right across from the Oak Room that has been vacant, that Dirk and Edson used for a little bit for a conference room, and then they no longer are using that space. So it's been available for almost a year now.
Okay,
Do you know where that is? You know where?
okay. Yeah, I mean, the door's locked, but that's okay. Wondered what was behind the door.
Nothing right at the moment.
Okay.
I have a question on, under premises, term and rent. The third line, it says occupied as blank and for no other purpose. So there's either a word missing or something that needs to be adjusted. Occupied as a office, as a,
I'm not to that yet. If you say so, we'll add the word.
well, I don't know what the word would be.
It's under number 2,
Premises, term, and rent.
Let me get to the lease.
Third line down says occupied as an,
Office lease agreement, right?
or,
Right,
And we're at what number?
number 2.
Number 2?
yeah.
Premises, term, and rent, third line down. Looks like there's something missing or
A word
something was
missing.
added.
Leaser does hereby demise and let on to leases and
Beginning of the third line, it says occupied.
Third line, occupied as an and for no other purpose.
third
So as an office, as a,
occupied as an
As in
and for no
office.
other, occupied as and for no other purpose. To be used and occupied as,
as an office? I don't know.
I do not know. Any thoughts on that, David or Alyssa?
This lease agreement was drafted by our solicitor, so I'm not sure the reasoning behind if there's a word missing, or if it's also just legal writing.
No, I don't think it's legal writing. I think something's missing, I think.
Yeah, I think we would add in there, it is a missing word, good catch,
So it's just an administrative change?
Yes.
Yeah.
So we'll conditionally approve it with that change, and then we'll get a copy on file with the correct wording for that one. Okay?
Doug, will we be able to see that at the next meeting then also?
The new version?
Yes,
Sure.
please. Thank you.
Did you, Alyssa, you're taking note of that, right? Okay. Great. Ready for a vote, folks? Any other comments? Yes, John?
I've looked up this business, and it's a franchise that either yoga studio or massages. So we'll have public coming through the building, so we'll be open for when that's for those purposes?
That's a good question. Because I don't know the answer, I'm going to ask Alyssa or David if they can answer that question. Is
Yes,
it?
I can answer the question.
Okay, thank you,
The woman
Alyssa.
that is planning to lease the space is actually a psychologist. So she will be seeing patients in the space. It's her own business that she is opening. And we do have that the building is open to our tenants and their, guest visitors. So therefore, they do have access even when we're closed.
Okay.
So she will have ability to be in here at the times that she would like to be.
Okay.
Other questions? Okay. All those in favor of the motion?
I'm sorry, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Roll
Thank you.
call vote.
Mr. Brackbill,
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton, yes. Ms. Dan?
Yes.
Mr. Eaton,
Yeah.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly? Ms. McKean?
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey?
Yes.
Ms. Wilson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Unanimous, thank you.
Next item. Council discussion and determination on whether the property located at 167 South Potter Street should be returned to the jurisdiction of Center Region Code Administration for continued code enforcement in compliance with applicable property maintenance and zoning regulation. Do we have a motion or discussion on this? I'm looking for a motion and then discussion. No motion?
I'll make the motion, Brackbill.
I'll second it, Dan.
Thank you. Do we have discussion by council on this motion? What we're doing is the motion is to restore Center Region Code to have jurisdiction over 167 South Potter Street. Do I have comments on this? Yes.
I'll make one. This property hasn't had oversight in 8 years now, I think. Because there's a liability for the borough, we believe that we need to make sure that the building is safe for occupancy and for use by the public. But we also want to make sure that the Bellefonte bread baker gets in as soon as possible. So we'd like to move ahead tonight to do this so that we can get the process started and moving along so that the owners of the property, the leaser, and the borough know what actually is going to be happening with this property.
Thank you. Other comments?
I have a question. Doug, I did step out early from that, so maybe this was discussed. I thought that council was going to meet with Mr. Schneider to discuss this first, but maybe it was changed after I left.
Yes, when the dust settles, the borough cannot or will not continue to take the liability of the building. And the best procedure or way forward to resolve this is to reinstate Center Region Code.
Okay, thank you.
And Center Region Code will then work with Gina, David Probolka, and the owners of the property and the bread baker, Bellefonte bread baker, to come to a resolution that all would be happy with.
Thank
So
you.
this is sort of moving. If we delay this any longer, it delays the possibility of the Bellefonte bread maker opening the business. So we, as the motion states, think this is the best way forward to resolve this. Any other comments?
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. This is Mr. Bernier. Sorry. Mr. Brackbill.
Yes.
Ms. Cleaton. Yes. Ms. Dan.
Yes.
Mr. Eaton.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson.
Yes.
Mr. Kelly. Yes. Ms. McKean.
Yes.
Ms. Tosti Vasey.
Yes.
And Ms. Wilson.
Yes.
Thank you. It passes.
Unanimously, thank you. Next item, public comment regarding issues not on the agenda. The public comment period is for oral comments regarding items not listed on this meeting agenda. Speakers shall identify themselves by name and street, municipality. If outside of the Borough of Bellefonte, comments are limited to 3 minutes. Do we have comments from the public tonight? Yes, ma'am.
She suggested I go first to have some documentation. David, this is going to be a little bit of a repeat of the email I sent you earlier. My name is Laura Rush. I live on South Spring Street. Okay, I'm here to speak on the change in the policy for parking on South Spring Street, and they have eliminated parking on the east side of South Spring Street from November through April 15th. So it's 152 days out of the year. What I've done is I have gotten deep into my spreadsheets, and I went to the AccuWeather premium website, which requires a membership, and I got the snowfall records for the last 15 years for Bellefonte. I've arranged it by month, by season, and the colors are highlighted differently to show different amounts of snowfall. So what I noted specifically was any day where there was snowfall over 3 inches, and I used this count as the barometer for which you would need to plow, and I use this because I hire plow service for my mother in Erie. So the dates in which there are over 3 inches of snowfall, an average is less than once a month, so it's less than 3% of those 152 days. So I think that that is unnecessarily long. And then my goal is to show that the snowfalls are too low and the restrictions unnecessary, and that the dates restricted are too broad and do not reflect the actual snowfall records for the last 15 years. I don't anticipate that you guys would suddenly decide not to eliminate some of the parking, as it is a bit of a concern for people driving down the street because they say it's a narrow street. The street is, in fact, 27 feet wide. I did all the math. I took out my tape measure. I measured it. I did the average width of a car, the average width of a truck, the standard width of a snowplow. So based on all that information, if you had cars parked on 2 sides, I think that is probably where the biggest issue is. And that actually only goes from house 340 to house 346, which is approximately 100 feet or 4 parking spaces. And then there's another spot of parking in front of 356, which is about 35 feet, which is 1 more parking space. And those are the only areas on the street where there's parking on both sides, which I think is the problem for the snow removal. I've also spoken to trash removal because I ran into them one day, and they said their concern is when it's parked on both sides. So my objective and my proposal is to, A, reduce the width of the length of time, taking it from December through March, taking it from 152 days to 105 days, and then take the parking restriction where it is moved up to between house 340 and house 356. Any questions?
Well, we don't interact, this is a comment period, so
Okay.
my suggestion would be to email that to our
Done.
streets chair.
I sent it to David. I apologize.
You can send it to David Perbolka and copy Randy Brackbill,
Okay.
who is our streets chair,
Okay,
with those proposals.
okay,
And we'll have them take another look at that for you.
okay.
That's all I can guarantee.
That's what I figured. I have the documentation in a spreadsheet, and then I have
Perfect.
the screenshots of the AccuWeather website, and then I've even narrowed down the daily snowfall totals in another document. Yes. Okay, thank you.
So I thank you for
Yes.
your due diligence. This has been a topic in recent meetings, and Friday I visited South Spring Street, and so I have a pretty good idea of what you're speaking to, and I agree with some of the things that you're bringing up. One of the first things I thought of, what if a fire truck or an emergency vehicle needed to go up there as well?
Yes, a fire truck is 8.5 feet wide.
Yeah,
Or 10 feet wide.
Right, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I do think it's kind of, when I was there, it kind of looked like the Wild Wild West with parking a little bit, and something should be addressed up there for sure.
If you want to draw a line so people can try and parallel park better, that would be awesome, but I don't foresee them being able to park better. But if you limit to one side, that gives you 20 feet of navigable space on the other side.
Okay, we're not going to debate this issue. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
And we look forward to trying to help you resolve this for you. That's our goal. in
Thank you.
this. Other comments from the public? Wait, I'm sorry. I have it. You can't, yeah, that would be much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Barry? I know your name, but others don't.
Good evening, council, ladies and gentlemen. Barry Spicer, 363 East Beaver Street. I served on council 2014 to 2016. Had a death in the family, so I stepped away because I felt it was the best thing to do for my constituents and for the betterment of Bellefonte Borough. And along those lines, I know that we've all taken the oath that we do what is best for our constituents, what's best for Bellefonte Borough. With that being said, there's been times that you've already met my beautiful wife, Tracy. Her and I would have debates. I would come home from a council meeting, and she would be like, well, why did you vote this way when, you think this way? Well, with that being said, I had to do what was right for Bellefonte Borough. I couldn't always use my politics, my beliefs, and what personal things I had going on and use that platform to try to push an agenda. So along those lines, why I'm here tonight is we have a councilman who used a public platform, and I'm talking to you, Councilman Kelly. You used a public platform for your own personal gain. You are to be doing what's best for Bellefonte Borough, the constituents that voted you in. When you're basically inciting violence, promoting these nonsense ICE protests that blocks the streets, that ties up our Bellefonte Police Department. I don't quite understand why you would go and do something like that when no one, I believe, on this council or in this town wants our police department being tied up with nonsense or outside agitators coming in and destroying property, blocking streets, and inciting violence.
Mr. Spicer, you have 30 seconds.
And along those lines, I stepped down because I had to do what was best for Bellefonte Borough Council. Tonight, I'm here to ask you to step down because it's what's best for Bellefonte Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Barry, for your comments. Others? We need your name, please.
Yes, sir. Good evening. My name is Chip Akins. I live on 423 East Lynn Street. I also served on Borough Council from 2001 to 2009. And I'm here to express heartbreak that a member of this body would invite outsiders to disrupt a legal process at our county courthouse without thought of repercussion, without thought of any adverse activity that might affect the community that elected you, sir. It put our police officers at risk, our first responders at risk. I own property downtown. If there had been violence and my property been damaged, you, sir, would have been personally sued because you do not have political immunity when you invite it from the council position. So I am in agreement with these folks. I would encourage you to resign, check your loyalties, and decide whose side on this borough you reside. Are you from Bellefonte, sir?
No, but I've lived here for 10 years.
Okay.
But I grew up in St.
So did I.
I'm a local boy.
Yeah, I moved here in 1990. I was shocked. You know, 3 years ago, that courthouse probably had ICE detention personnel who were being held for deportation. I don't recall anybody protesting. So I would really appreciate it, either you decide you're going to serve the borough of Bellefonte and leave your national agenda aside, or resign if you can't differentiate the two. Please. I have one last comment. Please fix the wall or the fence down at the spillway in Talleyrand Park. That has been rotting for 10 years since I ran the Chamber of Commerce down there. That yellow police tape has been up for 15 years. Have somebody fix that. It's an embarrassment.
Chip, where is that? The spillway wall?
Where the walkway, yeah, before you cross the bridge.
It's
there's
the
a-
wall
there's a
behind the
fence.
Doug, it's the wall behind the pagoda.
Behind the pagoda.
It's rotting, it's wood. It's
Okay,
been rotting.
I'll take another look at it. Thanks,
Yeah.
Chip.
And thank you for cleaning the dam. That's wonderful. But really, sir, please check your loyalties. Thank you.
Thanks, Chip, for your comments. Next, others. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Tom Dan. I live on South Monroe Street. I was here at the meeting 2 weeks ago when Mr. Kelly made his comment at the end of the meeting. I don't want to disagree with anyone else who may come up here and speak about this, but I don't think him resigning is an option. I remember a couple years ago when the borough made a very inadvertent and unintentional mistake with the Sunshine Law. And the immediate reaction, the knee-jerk reaction from people was file a lawsuit and demand people's resignation, okay? There was a mistake made at that point, and it was corrected very quickly. That's what responsible people do. I reviewed Mr. Kelly's comments at the end of that meeting, and at no point did he invite people to commit violence. He didn't ask people to destroy property. He merely invited people to come here and protest, which is a constitutional right guaranteed to all of us. We don't have to like it. We don't have to agree with it. And I had words with Mr. Kelly after that meeting because my emotions were running high and I ran my mouth a little bit more than I should have, and for that I apologize, sir. At the same time, I don't believe that I still maintain that that was an inappropriate comment at the time. There's no way he could have known hopefully, there was no way he knew that there was going to be obscene language put on signs and marched down the middle of one of our streets, even though the Supreme Court, in their infinite wisdom, seems to protect that word now in public. I had half a mind to say it here just to test the courts, but I don't really want to get cited for disorderly conduct, Chief, so I'm going to save you the embarrassment of that. Yeah. No, I won't do that. Kind of lost my train of thought. But if you look at the events as they how much time do I have? Oh boy. The events as they proceeded, it was peaceable, but was it lawful? They obstructed traffic. You're not allowed to do that. They were asked to get up on the sidewalk. They did not do that. They refused. They left signs laying around. Is that still called scattering rubbish, or is that littering, scattering rubbish? Okay? All I'm asking is, when these people do protest, as it's their right to do, follow the rules. Stay on the sidewalks. Don't make the police department be the mediators in something they have no vested interest in. It's a no-win situation. They don't want to take action.
Your time's up.
For things that they shouldn't have to at that moment.
Thank you for your comments.
Hi, my name's John Purnell. I live on Beaver Street in Bellefonte, and I too am going to comment on what happened at the last council meeting on March 16th. Mr. Kelly presented what I consider an advertisement for the protest on the following Wednesday at the courthouse in opposition to ICE, and it appears it was organized in response to ICE picking up an illegal alien from Poland. And according to DHS, this scumbag had a criminal history of very egregious crimes, including sexual assault, sex offense against a child, fondling, cruelty towards a child, enticement of a minor for indecent purposes, and exploitation of a minor. And my question to the citizens of Bellefonte, do we really want some person like this perverted degenerate lurking around our town? Obviously not. He's in our country illegally, and he posed a threat to our kids in our community, so I assume we want him out. Who's in charge of removing this guy? It's ICE. So why in God's name would anybody oppose the removal to this guy's removal or deportation? And I'm angry that somebody on council would promote a protest against the removal of that kind of an element of our society. For the record, I'm not opposed to people's their right to peaceably assemble in opposition to any issue, but I am steadfastly opposed to a council member advertising such an event on the taxpayers' dime. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. Other comments?
Hello, Council.
Hi,
Rita
Rita.
Purnell, 420 East Beaver Street. I am here tonight to discuss the action of Council Member Zach Kelly at the end of the last council meeting on Monday, March 16, specifically his announcement and promotion of an anti-ICE protest at the Bellefonte Courthouse on Wednesday, March 18. I feel, as do many others I have spoken to, that the promotion of a partisan activity like this during a council meeting is highly inappropriate and is a misuse of his position and of taxpayer funds. Mr. Kelly certainly has a right to do and say whatever he wants on his own time, but not when it involves taxpayer dollars. Just as a side note, according to the current budget, taxpayers fund the use of CNET for recording and rebroadcasting council meetings to the tune of $20,345 per year. There are 22 meetings per year, which cost about $925 per meeting. I didn't break it down to his announcement, but you can see it's still a pretty pricey amount of money for each meeting. I drove by the protesters when they were gathered in front of the courthouse and took a few pictures of the crowd and their signs. I knew that most children probably have seen foul language printed on some of those signs, but shame on them for not having more integrity than to use language like that on signs that our impressionable youth might see. The group proceeded to march down High Street across Spring and Water Street to private property at the waterfront. They did not have a permit to do so and were instructed by police to get off of the streets, which they did not do until they arrived at the waterfront. I saw pictures of Mr. Kelly at the protest, and I'm assuming he stayed until the conclusion at the waterfront. If this is the case, more than likely he did not follow police instructions to get off of the streets either. Do we want someone who has no respect for our police or for following their directions representing the people of Bellefonte? The protesters also left many of their signs behind, basically littering on public and or private spaces, leaving the police to clean up after them. I'm told there were 4 officers, the chief, and the sheriff's office present during the protest. How much did that cost the taxpayers? I have with me this evening a petition demanding the resignation of Mr. Kelly, which consists of physical and online signatures. And at this point, it's still growing, but I'm speaking on behalf of at least 100 Bellefonte residents and quite a few other people from around the area that have signed too, even though it was supposed to be just for Bellefonte residents.
Rita, you have 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. I'm also calling for council to create a code of conduct/ethics for council members. I have seen an increasing amount of behaviors by council members that have been concerning, including violation of election laws, lack of respect for fellow council members, and the use of the microphone to promote partisan politics. So I would hope, in light of this incident, that you would highly consider doing that thing for us. Thank you.
Perfect timing.
Thank you, Rita. Others? Okay. So now it's that time when I ask for the good of the order from council members. Mr. Eaton, I'd like to start with you.
Nothing to report this week.
Shauna?
I would just like to remind everyone that this month is Child Abuse Prevention Month. There's a toll-free number if you even are suspicious of child neglect or abuse. You can call the child hotline. It's available 24/7. It's 1-800-932-0313. And you can actually report anyone anonymously. You don't have to give a lot of information, but, you know, the basics so they know where to find this person, and as far as your own information, you don't have to give it. That's it.
Thank you. Claudia?
I would just like to announce that there's a first ever Arab American Heritage Month activities on Thursday, April 9th, and on Saturday, April 11th, at the Wascob Family Gallery in State College. Trying to highlight Arab culture, and also an Asian Pacific Islander Spring Fest on Saturday, April 18th at Fraser Street and MLK Plaza.
Barbara?
Thank you. I am deeply concerned about the actions of Councilman Zach Kelly during the March 16th meeting of the Bellefonte Borough Council, using an official televised council meeting to promote a protest regardless of the issue crosses a line. Council meetings are for conducting borough business, not for advocating political or personal activity. This is not about whether someone agrees or disagrees with a particular cause. It is about the appropriate use of public office and taxpayer-funded resources. When a boundary is blurred, public trust is eroded. We all have the right to free speech, but when you hold public office, that right comes with a responsibility. You do not get to use that office as a personal megaphone for activism. I'd also like to offer a personal perspective. My husband served in law enforcement for over 27 years. I have seen firsthand the complexity, the risks, and the level of commitment that is required to uphold the law. That experience shapes how seriously I take matters involving law enforcement and the public messaging surrounding it. Law enforcement officers do not make the laws, they are entrusted to uphold them. If there are concerns about the law itself, those concerns should be directed at the lawmakers, not the officers who are responsible for enforcing it. For the Good of the Order is intended for general community updates, local events, programs, and information relevant to our residents. It is not intended to be a platform for promoting personal or political activities unrelated to borough business. We should all be very mindful to keep our comments aligned with the purpose of this meeting and the responsibilities of this council. Therefore, I am requesting that a formal council code of conduct be attached to each meeting agenda. I've been unable to find one, and if one does not currently exist, I respectfully request that our leadership, President Johnson, Vice President Cleaton, and Pro Tem Tosti-Vasey, develop and present one to council by the May 4th meeting. Our community deserves clarity, accountability, and leadership that respects both. Thank you.
Thank you, Barb. Deb?
I would like to thank the Streets Department for their prompt response to and repair of a very large sinkhole that opened up at the corner of Bishop and Spring Street right at the entrance to the Dollar General parking lot. It was very large and very deep, and they got after it and took care of it, and it could have been an extreme hazard if left unattended. And I'm going to go out on a limb and invite all of my fellow elected officials and Mayor Johnson to an informal meet and greet for the Center County Historic Museum and Library. They're welcoming their new executive director. There will be a light reception on Thursday, April 9th from 5 to 6:30 at the museum building. So please join us.
Thank you.
Mayor Johnson?
I do not have anything.
Thank you. Thanks. Randy?
I've been on council for, I think, around 14 years, maybe longer. And nothing like getting things started with a recent council meeting. Let me get this reading. At a recent council meeting, a council member promoted and invited people to attend a protest in the courthouse in Bellefonte. I felt this was wrong and inappropriate while the meeting was still in session. In my years on council, Bellefonte Council never promoted protesting. We opposed it. And it is not the borough's business to take care of that. So I think, that's my feeling on this. I hope it doesn't happen again because that's very bad for Bellefonte when that starts happening. The other thing I have is watershed cleanup. I'll bring it up a little bit. This comes out on the 18th of April from 8 a.m. to noon. I could use some help from the Bellefonte area to come out, and if you want to, just give me a call and I can let you know where we can meet. And so it's a short day, but it should be a good day. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Joanne?
No report.
Mr. Kalizak, up to you.
I just want to say thank you for everyone coming out and starting a dialogue. Everyone came out here with kindness in their heart and civility, and I think that's why we're here. So I would like to keep this conversation going with you guys, for sure, because I think we all are on the same side. But I just want to say thank you guys for coming out and sharing your time. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. David, do you have some comments for the good of the order tonight?
No, sir, thank you.
You're welcome. For me, just wanted to refer to the newsletter that most people should have received in the mail. If not, it's online at the Borough website. But I've had a couple comments in regard to the what we used to call the riffraff pickup. It is now called, oh, I had it on the page here, bulk waste collection. So when you see bulk waste collection, that means riffraff day in Bellefonte. So I just wanted to remind folks that that's May 18th to the 22nd, and the pickup is usually on your refuge day that you have normal refuge pickup.
Can we informally call it Riffraff Day so we can go back and remember all those great riffraff days in the past?
We may.
I still remember the 3 unused baby strollers tethered together with treasures going somewhere.
I love it when the folks come through town and pick up the stuff that people feel that's unwanted, and I know that the borough staff encourages that. So just wanted to make that comment. Other than that, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.